Guys, it's a pleasure to be here, and to be honest, if I'm speaking today, it's thanks to you, so I'm really grateful. But you must know that for the past year, I have been drawing homeless men and collecting their stories. And I came here to bring their voice. To be honest, how did this begin? It's funny because it starts in this very room. I was in a lecture more than a year ago. It was raining outside, and I just wanted to travel and live an adventure. We all know this feeling. So when I had the chance to do my exchange semester in Brazil, I promised myself that I would live every damn second of it. So I landed in Rio last August and had 1 month to travel before classes started. After a first week in a tropical island, I landed in Paraty. I went to Paraty, a small town south of Rio, with its old colonial buildings, its long streets, and its palm trees. The place felt like a trip back in time. It was like a pirate town. But you know what? As I kept walking around, I kept being interrupted by people selling souvenirs on the street who wanted my attention. And it kind of broke the magic. There was a big group of them in a big square next to an old church. And you know what? I finally joined them. I didn't know where to go. And I realized that these guys didn't mean any harm. In fact, 2 of them were Argentinians, and they were pretty funny. They told me that they were street dentists making dental prostheses for people in need. Now, I'm a rational man. I didn't believe them. These guys were trying to tell me that they're the badass version of the tooth fairy. And you know what? I never saw the tooth fairy, but maybe this is what they are. And so I thought, okay, it's a joke. So I told them to look at my teeth, which are a little bit twisted. And, with that typical Argentinian chill that we all need here in St. Gallen, they said, sí, se puede arreglar. Of course, we can do it. And they said, if you don't trust us, we're going to take care of a girl right now. You can come with us and see how we do. Now, I thought about it for a bit too long, but if I hadn't gone with them right then, I wouldn't be speaking today. And the girl in question, she had the big afro hair, a guitar behind her back, which was her only possession in the world. And she told me, in this country, discrimination is strong. I'm black, I'm a woman, and I live in the streets, and because of my broken tooth, people don't want to give me any job. You see, in our world where dental care is expensive, our teeth say so much about us. How can you find loved ones if you don't have any teeth here? It's impossible. And less than an hour, after we entered in this small, shabby room, I'm terribly scared of dentists. Those drills and things? Well, those dentists, the first thing they took out of their plastic bags was this big mechanical drill that went bzzz. And I can tell you, when I saw that, I was really happy that the girl went before me. But less than an hour after that, she had this perfect smile. And I've never seen someone so happy in all my life. She took them in the arms. She started crying and laughing at the same time. And here she is now, full of hope for tomorrow. And here is more of what the dentists have been doing over the past month. And their project is called Sonrisas sin Fronteras, or Smiles Without Borders. We all want to smile. And you don't want to smile like that, let's be honest. So their dream is to create an NGO in order to use 3D printers to do their work on a much larger scale. And their names are Matias Cesar and Gonzalo Garcete. And in order to reach Paraty, this small town, a woman had offered them a free ride. But while they paused for a coffee break, they saw her car driving away. The woman stole everything they had. They lost their passports. They lost the little money they had. And most importantly, they lost their dentist material. But you know what's even crazier? That's when I realized that these guys are nuts. They told me this story with a big smile. And they told me, you never know what will happen in life. You never know how things will go. And no matter how bad life strikes at you, because life strikes at all of us, but no matter how bad life strikes at you, you're always free to decide how you will react. These dentists blew my mind. So on the next day, I chose to say one more day. I wanted to travel all over Brazil, but one more day wasn't going to change much. So I went back to this public square one afternoon. The dentists were here, but there was this, weird homeless man sitting and laughing like a pirate. And his name is Jose. He would say, "Escuta una cosa." Whoa. He would say, "Escuta una cosa." And he spoke about madness. He spoke about adventure. He spoke about women. That's all the things a young man needs to know, but for some weird reason, they don't teach that in university. The glint in his eyes, the ring of his laughter, the movement of his hands, everything about this man was poetry. I just wanted to take a picture, but how could I get my camera out with all this weird homeless man that I didn't know? So what happened is that I took my small notebook and started drawing him. The drawing was terrible. All the guys in the square made fun of Jose, but Jose didn't give a damn. He told me, "Hey, this is really ugly, but you created something. All these guys in the street, they're not doing anything right now. And maybe you have a chance. So now that you have a dream, the only thing that matters is that you keep on going, no matter how bad it is." And here is the second drawing, which is already a bit better. Now, Jose blew my mind as well. This was the adventure I was looking for, maybe. So I stayed one more day. And in the end, I ended spending my whole week laughing, drinking cheap alcohol, and sharing stories with all these crazy and homeless men that haunted the square. And that's not what I told my parents back home. But I can promise you, it was a great vacation. And on the next day, I saw Jose again. And he was sitting with those two guys. One of them had this big nose, big cheeks, and he kept pushing the guy next to him. And the poor guy, his hand was shaking. He couldn't move it. His whole shoulder was broken. And, you could smell the fear in his eyes. So after a while, I just told the big guy to stop. I didn't control myself. I lost control. But Jose looked at me, and he said, with the exact little beanie, he said, "Você tá maluco? Are you crazy? Just because we share the laughter doesn't mean you can come in and tell us what to do. You don't know us. We don't know you. And trust me, if you act like this, you're going to get hurt." That's when I realized that I'm in the streets, and all these 50-cent songs, they finally made sense. And, we all listened to them. And what happened is that I realized, we all like happy people. On social media, we're always happy. But at some point, we're all going to go down. And think about, of all your friends, who's going to stand for you when you're in trouble? Now, a cold wind came in, and then one of those nights, the guys got drunk again, and they started fighting, and Jose kicked a young man's ass with his big belly. He didn't give a damn. But on the next day, he was tired and lonely in the square, and it was cold. He saw me passing. He said, "Hey, come here. Can't you feel that the cold wind is coming? Aren't you cold? I can see you shivering. Stop pretending like it's okay. I have a nice spot on the beach. Everything's good for me, man. I have this jacket. I don't need anything else." So you know what he did? He gave me his sweater right there on the spot. How could I tell this man that I have a warm bed waiting for me back home in Switzerland? He didn't accept my excuses. He said, "Hey, I'm going to get angry if you don't take it. And you don't want to see me angry again, do you?" This is the last I saw of Jose. It's crazy how we have so much, but we share so little. These men know what it's like to be cold. They know what it's like to be hungry. And they know what it's like to share things. So, time was running. I lost a week. I just wanted to travel, discover Brazil, see the Amazon, the waterfalls, the tudo bom, And then what happened? What happened is that I woke up one morning, booked the first bus to Sao Paulo where I could take an airplane to the Amazon. But as I entered the bus, I thought, damn, maybe this is the adventure I had been looking for all my life. So I thought, screw the Amazon, screw the waterfalls, and screw the tudo bom. I'm going back to the dentist. And this is when the adventure began. And the next day, I highly regretted this decision. Is this turning? Well, so on the next way, we arrived in Angra Reis, a small fishing town close to Rio. It was the cheapest bus we could find. I gave the dentist my travel money so they could buy dentist material, which they did before my eyes, and we walked and walked and walked and walked. We didn't know where we would sleep, and we didn't know what we would eat. And this, for these dentists, was the daily routine. And I just grew tired, and you know what? Night fell. And we were sharing one sweater between all of us. And in that moment, I realized the full extent of José's gesture. But after walking so much, no one was ready to help us because all the men were busy working and the only ones left on the docks were the homeless and the dealers. And as night came in, the cold wind was here again. We're in front of the ocean and I grew scared. To be honest, I lost hope. I'm like, come on, man. I mean, we walked, 8 hours? I haven't drunk water in the whole day. No one's going to help us now. But Matthias repeated the same words. We're always free to decide how we will react. And he got out, while I was sitting alone on my chair, got out and kept on searching. And maybe it was 11 o'clock, maybe it was midnight. I looked at the homeless men sleeping next to a public toilet with their blankets, and I considered sleeping with these guys. But we had no blankets. So Matthias, luckily for us, later came in with this small man who looked like, this weird sailor, and I thought I was in a pirate movie. And I always think I'm in a pirate movie, by the way. And, there was a deal. The man was guarding a boat for the night, and in exchange for dental care, he would allow us to sleep on the deck. The dentists, pirate dentists, gave him teeth right there, on the deck, on the spot, and the weird guy suddenly looked like a Hollywood actor. I mean, Brad Pitt has no more career now. And there was one deal, though. We had to wake up before sunrise so that no one could see us. And I woke up, the sun was finally there. I mean, just that sun I had been expecting. There were hundreds of birds flying all around, sailors going out in the ocean. And only for those 5 minutes, the whole trip had been worth it. After that, we went for lunch by a church in a public square. And there were all these weird guys with beaten eyes. I hadn't drunk water since I woke up since the last day. And while I was so thirsty, they were drinking hard alcohol at 9 a.m. And I can't believe how tough these guys are. And one of them told me this. He said, "Minha história é uma história triste. I was a sailor. I would go traveling for months. I would go fishing for months on this small boat on the coast of Patagonia. But I lost my job. I have nowhere left to go. I lost my wife. My life is finished. But you know what? I'm grateful for one thing. I have seen nature in its wildest of forms. I've been in the oceans. And only because of this, life was worth the ride." And I couldn't stop but think about my 5 minutes in the sun. And because I was drawing him, another big, scary guy came in with all sorts of tattoos. This is the same fisherman. And the big guy came with all his tattoos, smoking his cigarette, bare-chested, in the sun. He said, "Draw me." And he told me, I may look like just another homeless man, but I have been everywhere. I have traveled all across the world, China, Japan, Spain. I have been everywhere, and everywhere was beautiful. But only those with courage will know. And when I asked him what his tattoos meant, he told me, death. Only death. And after that public lunch, people were, all these tough homeless men were eating in silence and praying for that food. All these tough men were suddenly calm. I had never expected something like this. And after it, Jose, who smelled of alcohol, Caesar, he smelled of alcohol. He took me in his big, angry arms. He told me, "Kid, you don't want to be where I have been. You don't want to see what I have been. You're still young, man. So get out of these damn streets before it's too late. I don't know what the hell you're doing here. But you don't want to get stuck like me. Você não pode desistir. You can never back down. And when you make choices, they stick to you forever. And you have a dream. Keep on drawing and you will be free. And he ran out. He said all those crazy words at the same time. That's all I remember. But all these guys, I think the reason why they were so nice to me is because they just needed attention. In fact, it feels like in the world of tomorrow, our attention is becoming rare. We're so busy paying attention to those living perfect lives on social media. We're so busy trying to live the perfect life on social media that we forget to pay attention to those who struggle in the real world. And yet, because of what they face, they have so much to teach. They have more courage than any of us. And none of us knows what tomorrow will bring. It's a mystery. And I feel like we're all so scared. But you know what? These men taught me not to be afraid. There was one man, later when we finally reached Rio with the dentist, and they entered in a dangerous favela controlled by gangs. We sat at the table with crack cocaine and men wearing Kalashnikovs in front of us. But because those dentists were here to help, all these people opened their doors to us. They opened their hearts. They gave us food. They even gave me chocolate cake with the guns. They gave me chocolate cake. I mean, and much later, I got back to a more normal life. And there was this weird man coming on the beach. He was limping. I got scared because Rio's a dangerous place on the beach. And also a beautiful place. But suddenly we started talking. 5 minutes turned into an hour, and it turns out he just wanted my soda can because he collected them to make a living. And as he sat down, he finally chose to tell me a story. He said, I fought with a man. I had to save a girl. This guy was a bad guy, and he wanted to hurt her. I had no choice but to defend that woman. And this is why my leg is broken. And you know what? Here's the story. I killed this man. But I just want to relax. Eu só quero estar tranquilo. I just want to fish by the ocean. I don't want to be bothered. And I like to eat my fish with lemon. It's the best thing in the world, he said. I promise. Here's the man. And the thing is, I didn't find freedom in this big adventure, this big rush, the parties in Rio, you're always chasing for something. I found freedom in the streets. Because when you lose everything you have, you stop being afraid. And when you have nothing, you realize that happiness is simple. Life isn't about reaching this perfect destination. Life is about enjoying the ride. Life is an adventure, but the adventure is not distant and far away. The adventure is right here. The adventure, now that I'm back in this room, the adventure is right now. Rock and roll.